This morning, continuing coverage of the police confrontation at Quick Trip. Over the weekend, Madison officials kept quiet on some key details. What we expect to learn today.
Plus, fighting inflation as the slowdown stalls, we have some of the easiest ways to overcome rising prices.
And we've had some heavy rain move through southern Wisconsin, actually mixing with a little bit of freezing rain to the north. Don't rule out a rumble of thunder as well.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to News 3 Now this morning. It is Monday, February 27th. February quickly coming to an end. I'm Josh Breiter.
I'm Chris Stanford. Kelly Slifka's got your first warned weather today. Are we going to see this rain hang around all day?
No, not really. It looks like a lot of this is going to taper off later this morning, but it's been coming down at a pretty good clip, and you can see some of these lightning bolts showing up here, these little white dots here down to the south toward Janesville. Then just to the east in parts of Jefferson County, a couple of rumbles of thunder. The heavier bands of rain now starting to lift to the north, but you can still see some embedded ones down to the south. Then when you get up toward the Dells and areas to the north, that's where they're seeing some of that mixed with a little bit of freezing rain, a little bit of sleet, and some snow as well. So we do have the alert day for that wintry precipitation to the north. This will be mainly this morning north of the Dells. May cause some icy spots. The rest of us can expect an inch or to an inch and a half of rain, may cause some flooding for southern Wisconsin. So that's something we're concerned with. There's a winter weather advisory to the north up until noon. Temperatures in the 30s will be above freezing. The heaviest rain starts to lift to the north. Can't rule out a few scattered showers in the afternoon, maybe even a little bit of snow areas to the north when things start to wind down. But the roads will be wet, and watch out for some ponding of water on those roads. Looking at just some showers by the noon hour, and all of this should be out of here by this evening.
Thank you, Kelly. We start this hour with continuing coverage of a deadly Quick Trip shooting and some big questions left unanswered for more than 2 days.
The biggest is the identity of a man who died inside as Madison officers surrounded the building. We do know the Madison police chief will be holding a news conference at some point today. It all played out Friday during the evening rush hour at a Quick Trip on East Washington Avenue. The DOJ says officers tried to apprehend a wanted suspect who then pulled a weapon. An officer tried to use a taser without success. Then another officer fired their weapon in the direction of the suspect. The man barricaded himself in a bathroom. Officers heard gunfire in the bathroom and later found the suspect dead. When asked about the identification, this is how officers responded.
Can you confirm this is the homicide suspect that was announced earlier today?
I'm unable to confirm that. We're waiting for positive identification from the medical examiner's office. We were in the area looking for that suspect from that homicide when we had this violent confrontation. We are awaiting positive identification from the medical examiner's office.
That is another thing we want to ask about today, is if that shooting at Quick Trip had anything to do with the murder of Kristen Schmidt. Schmidt was found dead Wednesday inside an apartment near the Olbrich Botanical Gardens. Justin Kampmeyer was a suspect in Schmidt's death, and who officers were searching for Friday during that Quick Trip altercation. Count on News 3 Now for updates on all of this today. We will post any new information at channel3000.com from the Chiefs News Conference and any other developments we're able to report.
Tonight, the Madison School Board will vote to rename Jefferson Middle School. The meeting is happening at the school where the board will choose between either Ezekiel Gillespie or Maya Angelou Middle School. Gillespie was born enslaved and became a civil rights pioneer when he sued the state for the right to vote, which ultimately granted the rights for blacks to vote here in the Badger State. Angelou was a famous author, poet, and civil rights activist.
A Madison police officer charged in a domestic violence case is due in court today. Officer Kerry House has a pretrial conference at 1 o'clock this afternoon. He's charged with felony strangulation and misdemeanor battery in Columbia County. Court records say last November, Officer House had been drinking all day and then choked a woman. House has been on non-disciplinary leave from the department since. He has been released on a $2,000 signature bond.
New this morning, a new consumer spending report shows inflation may be picking up speed, raising concerns that efforts to fight inflation could stall economic growth. The report shows a possible 0.6% rise every month, leading to a possible 4.6% rise in inflation costs. For the last 3 months, prices have gone down a bit, but for many, it is not enough.
I'm not making ends meet. I'm not making it. I'm spending my savings. I get paid tomorrow, and already my whole paycheck is spoken for. I think that's the hardest thing, is what were considered luxuries that weren't even really that luxurious. We just can't afford it anymore.
A survey from the University of Michigan does show people are feeling better about the economy, though. Goods prices dropped around 0.75% last month.
We're helping you take action this morning on that rising inflation. When shopping for groceries, it's always a good idea to have a list for planning out meals. If you impulse buy, we know how that goes. The fees for online ordering end up being less than shopping in store.
When it comes to utilities, economic experts say to not be complacent with your current providers. Shop around and see if any other provider can offer your service for a better cost. When it comes to cutting those costs, some of us go too far. Driving an extra half hour for gas that's a few cents cheaper costs you more in the long run. Also avoid low quality or near expired groceries because at best you'll have to throw it out before eating. At worst, it could cost you a visit to the doctor.
6:05 now, the Lake Mills Fire Department and its surrounding community is mourning the sudden loss of Fire Chief Todd Yandre. Our Andrew Banstra spoke with his close friends and family over the weekend and shares how they're honoring Yandre's life and legacy.
After 41 years of serving the Lake Mills Fire Department, Fire Chief Todd Yandre passed suddenly on the 16th. Here today, we're in Lake Mills talking to those who knew him best.
He was so nice of a person to everybody and cared about everybody that he came across.
That's how Todd's cousin Randy remembers him, a genuinely good soul that serviced his community.
Yes, it was a deepest shock because he was definitely well loved in the community.
For Brian, who's lived in Lake Mills his whole life and was friends with Todd, this is a gut punch. He watched Todd serve their community his entire life, from working his way up from firefighter to fire chief.
And we're going to deeply miss him, but he was just a wonderful man, a wonderful spokesperson in our community, and loved his family. We just treasure his memory.
He remembers Yandre as someone who was one with the community, intertwined.
Always being at the events, whether it's the high school events through his children, and now he's got grandchildren. He would be for church services. He would also be with the town hall.
The fire chief is a pillar in any community, especially in Lake Mills. Yandre lived up to his stature every day, so much so that Governor Evers honored his life by ordering flags to half staff.
And yet we knew them personally, and it was just them. They wanted to do that just to serve and just to show that they cared for us as a community here in Lake Mills. So we deeply miss them, but yet we're so grateful for what they did for us here in Lake Mills.
For his cousin Randy, he remembers Todd as the kid who was the best athlete around, and that success translated into service.
We grew up together as kids and hung out at each other's houses in the summers, and he was a really good guy.
Everyone we spoke with today said Todd will be immensely missed, but his legacy will never be forgotten. In Lake Mills, Andrew Banstra, News 3 Now.
When Yandre wasn't at the fire station, he was an adjunct professor for Madison College and a member of the Wisconsin Society of Fire Instructors.
6:07 right now. 3 people are recovering this morning after a crash in Brodhead over the weekend. Emergency responders were called to the intersection of East 9th Avenue and 23rd Street Sunday morning for reports of a 2-vehicle crash. According to police, a car was traveling north on 9th Avenue and a minivan traveling east ran a stop sign and collided with the car. The 2 people inside and a passenger in the minivan were all taken to a local hospital. They are expected to survive. One program is doing its part to keep farming culture alive in minority communities, and that work is creating a new generation of growers across the country. This group of ladies may be small, but they run a large 4-acre farm just outside of Washington, D.C., where crops are coming, and more importantly for the group, so are an abundance of seeds. Across the nation, less than 1% of farms are black-owned, which limits minorities' access to the $15 billion seed-growing industry.
It's a sense of community, sense of seeing how others are working in their community, and there are thousands and thousands of us out there. And the only way we can beat any type of obstacle is to work together and work through it.
Seeds just launched their second online catalog. Last year, the group had nearly 1,000 seed orders across the country. They say they're committed to continuing to provide increased opportunities for underrepresented growers and communities.
Coming up, Consumer Reports put some popular brands of canned tuna to the test. What they found when it comes to harmful levels of mercury.
And weeks away from March Madness, do the Badger men's basketball team have a chance? We're back after this.
At Stanton Optical, independent eye doctors are available for eye exams whenever you need one. You should have seen me before I got mine. You're so quiet. Are you mad at me? Book your free same-day eye exam at Stanton Optical today.
Garage doors don't like the cold weather, but if it breaks, Precision Garage Door is always ready.
Does not matter if it's raining or snowing or any kind of other weather conditions, we're going to get it done on the same day. We know how important that is to our customers.
Precision Door Service, a name you can trust.
For over 50 years, Purina Cat Chow has been helping cats feel at home with trusted nutrition. No wonder it's the #1 dry cat food in America. Come home to Cat Chow.
How can you make a difference in the world when there is so much need?
Be a mentor.
Young people need a positive role model to succeed and navigate life's challenges. Think about someone in your life who helped you get where you are today. A mentor assures young people that someone cares and makes them feel like they matter. Learn about mentorship opportunities in the 608 at unitedmadison.com/mentoring. Brought to you by Fearing's Audio Video Security and United Madison.
Can an oven-roasted turkey breast pack so much succulent flavor that the mere glimpse of it induces turkey sandwich daydreams? If it's Hillshire Farm, oh, hell yeah.
Don't miss your chance to see The Lion King, one of the most awe-inspiring productions ever brought to life on stage.
Coming to Overture Center May 11th through 28th. Tickets on sale now at overture.org.
DePaco Credit Union protects your well-being, supports you through life's many surprises. Because when our members love life, it makes a brighter community for all. DePaco can help you be well.
We protect your house. And your car.
We need to keep our energy up. I want to take me to Funky Town.
Because we know they're the launching pad to their dreams. And now you can save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com.
Stanton Optical is the best value in eye care. We did the math, people. For $79, you get all this. That costs over $400 at Lens Crafters, over $200 at Walmart, and over $150 at America's Best. When it comes to value, Stanton Optical is the top bird.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
We're back at 6:12. Nutritionists often recommend 2 to 3 servings of fish a week. To get that, many of us reach for canned tuna, but there are some serious health concerns around mercury. Consumer Reports tests popular brand of the canned fish to find out if it's safe to eat. And our Shane Hogan has that story.
It's cheap, convenient, full of protein and omega-3 fatty acids, and a classic staple in our lunches, canned tuna. But the nutritional powerhouse from the sea comes with a warning.
Tuna, just like other fish, can contain mercury. And if you eat a lot of fish, you can expose yourself to this potentially dangerous heavy metal.
High amounts of mercury can lead to problems with fine motor coordination, speech, sleep, and walking. It's also concerning for pregnant people since the developing brain and nervous system of the fetus are vulnerable. Because so many people eat tuna, and because of its potential risks, CR tested 5 popular brands of canned tuna for mercury. The results? Popular albacore tuna had the highest mercury levels, while light varieties had relatively low mercury on average, though results varied from can to can.
There were some cans we tested that had high amounts of mercury. And because you cannot tell which can that you purchase has high amounts of mercury, you may be possibly exposing yourself to dangerous levels of this heavy metal.
For that reason, CR recommends that pregnant people should completely avoid tuna. National Fisheries Institute is a trade association that represents canned tuna manufacturers. In response to CR's findings, it said that the mercury levels were well below the limit the FDA allows in canned tuna and that these products are safe to consume. If you're concerned about limiting the amount of mercury you consume, and if you've eaten no other fish during the week, Consumer Reports says up to 12 ounces a week of Bumblebee Chunk Light, Chicken of the Sea Chunk Light, Safe Catch Wild Elite, and Star Kiss Chunk Light tunas are the safer choices among the products CR tested. This is Shane Hogan.
Thank you, Shane. There are other types of seafood that are nutritious and have natural lower levels of mercury, including oysters, salmon, and sardines.
Let's get to Kelly Slifka now. Your first warn forecast coming up on 6:15. What can we expect today, Kelly?
Well, we've got it all across southern Wisconsin. We do have a little bit of wintry mix up to the north. Therefore, we do have the alert day up north of the Dells, where we're seeing a little bit of freezing rain and some sleet and snow mixing in. This will be mainly just this morning. Now, for the rest of southern Wisconsin, we're talking about the potential for some flooding rain. We're expecting 1 to maybe 1.5 inches of rain here in southern Wisconsin. So some of those rivers prone to flooding are going to be a little bit of a concern. We got some of the snow melt going on, and actually southern Wisconsin, you can see this shaded in yellow. We have possible flooding over the next couple of days. Some of these rivers already getting near flood stage down to the south. Right now we got the rain moving through Madison. It has lightened up a little bit as the heaviest rain has moved up to the north, and this is where it's running into some of that colder air at the surface with temperatures below freezing, and that's why they may be seeing a little bit of freezing rain from the Dells up through Camp Douglas. It looks like it's now moved out of Richland County. At least it's warm enough that it's just liquid falling. Here in Madison, light to moderate rains. Occasionally get a wave of some moderate rain. Don't be surprised if you don't hear a rumble of thunder as well. I kind of have it all going on with some wintry precipitation for some and some spring-like thunder for others. This afternoon, a lot of this is going to become more scattered. It's going to be moving on out, but it's going to be breezy as we start to see these temperatures fall from around 40 early in the afternoon. Right now, no problems with freezing rain here in Madison, 37. The Dells at 34, but once you get up toward Camp Douglas, it is below freezing. Also, Juneau right now at 33, so areas to the north, expecting some of that possibly freezing on contact. Right now, all Dane County above freezing. 37 in Sauk City, Cross Plains 36, Wanakee 36, Stoughton 37, Oregon currently at 36. So we'll see the heaviest rains lift out pretty quickly this morning. And actually, as we get in the noon hour, just scattered activity into the afternoon. May tail off with a little bit of light snow or sleet up to the north before it moves on out. That northwest wind will drop our temperatures. Will be turning a little bit cooler later this afternoon, but not before leaving 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain across much of southern Wisconsin. So there's that potential for some flooding. Therefore, the first warn alert day today. A breezy day tomorrow, and it looks dry, 44. Might see a weak system pass and bring us a little bit of snow, maybe a rain-snow mix into Wednesday morning. Cooler, but generally dry for the rest of the week and going into the upcoming weekend.
All right, thanks a lot, Kelly. Here's sports anchor Jordan Reed with your morning sports.
Every time the Bucks take the court, they prove just how dangerous of a team they are. Despite losing Giannis to a knee injury on Friday night, the team managed to keep their win streak alive. 13 straight as they gear up to play the Suns for the first time this season. Phoenix trying to spoil that streak. They're leading late in the game. Drew Holiday says, hey, watch this. Dials up from behind the arc. 3 for the lead. Now Devin Booker, he responds in the final 30 seconds to knot it up, but don't count out the Bucks. Chris Middleton finds Brook Lopez off the glass for the go-ahead bucket. The Bucks hold on and win at 104-101, extending the win streak to 14 games.
It's the NBA. I think no matter where it is, up 8 with 6 minutes left or whatever, we feel like we always have a chance. We've come down, or we've come back from a lot worse, maybe not in that time, but I think we have enough confidence in ourselves to kind of lock in and get some stops. But just like they went on the run, we felt like we had another punch to give, and they're stronger.
Bucks improved to 43-17 on the season and hold a 6-game lead in the Central standings. They'll hit the road for one with the Nets. That's on Tuesday at 6:30. Badger women's basketball closing out the regular season with senior day and against 12th ranked Michigan. What a game for Bucky. Trailing by 1 in the second half, Julie Poshpishlova knocks down the jumper. 2 of her game high 25, and UW's on top. But Michigan isn't going anywhere just yet. It's tied up now at 44, but here comes Avery LaBarbera from distance. The Badgers lock up the lead for good. They upset Michigan 78-70, their first win over them since 2014. UW earns a first-round bye for the Big Ten tourney, which begins on Wednesday. Coming into the weekend, Wisconsin men's basketball was listed as one of the last 4 teams into the NCAA tournament, according to Joe Lenardi's bracketology report. So clearly, if the Badgers want in, they got to be playing their best basketball, especially in round 2 with Michigan. Of course, this is another close one. Less than 30 seconds in the game, down by 1, Connor Essegian drains the J 2 of his new career-high 24 points. And the Badgers are sitting pretty in that final second. They're up by 3, and Max Klesmit, trying to keep it that way, comes up with a monster block in the corner. But Hunter Dickinson is going to negate it at the buzzer with a triple, and it sends it to overtime. Now, Klesmit's getting it done on both sides of the ball. He cashes in for 3 to give UW back the lead, but an and 1 from Kobe Buffkin is going to lock it up for Michigan. The Badgers fall 87-79 in overtime. They will split the series. Next up, the Badgers host 5th-ranked Purdue on Thursday. Tip-off at the Kohl Center is set for 8. And while the game didn't end how they would have wanted, Connor Essegian did make program history. He now has the most three-pointers made by a freshman. Early second half, CE3 drained his only triple of the day, but that marked his 61st on the season. He passes Brad Davison's record, which was set back in 2018 with 60. Back to you.
6:20 right now, coming up in trending, the image from police you just have to see, showing us just how creative some folks can get.
And in our next half hour, Vladimir Putin sending a strong message about the West and the narrative he's pushing this morning. Stay with us.
Watch News 3 now at 6 with Eric, Charlotte, Gary, and Zach. Weeknights.
Cobison Buses, now hiring.
My name is Mike Williams. I've been driving school bus off and on for 21 years. Here at our terminal, we're kind of like a family too. Somebody has an issue with a bus, other people kick in and help and get the job done.
Everyone has their own idea of what fitness means to them. Here's what it means to us. We believe fitness can be more than exercise, that it can build a better tomorrow. It can change how you feel. It can build more than muscle. It can build community. And no matter what your reason, the common goal is simple. It's for a better tomorrow. Join us for a better tomorrow.
You've got this. Whatever it is, you're ready for it. Your newly purchased defenses, top of the line. Your backup, backing up. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So if your new house still has some old tenants, we'll make sure your checking account won't be giving you any surprises. You've got this with Associated Bank.
Extremist Dan Kelly wants abortion banned, even in cases of rape, incest, and the health of the mother. For years, Kelly was on the payroll of a radical anti-abortion group working to take away women's rights. On the court, Kelly will uphold Wisconsin's 1849 criminal abortion ban that strips women of their freedom to make personal decisions on abortion. Dan Kelly, an extremist who doesn't care about us.
Chicago. Celebrating 25 years of Broadway razzle-dazzle. The Associated Press calls Chicago the most entertaining musical of the decade. Paint the town again with Chicago the Musical.
At Overture, March 21st through 26th. Tickets at overture.org.
Cobison Buses, now hiring.
Working with Cobison, it's definitely been great because of the flexibility. If you do need time off, they work around you. They definitely try to make it a company that's based for you.
Visit cobison.com to apply.
We want to thank Linda for sharing this remarkable photo with us. This has given us all sorts of feels this morning. It's very moody.
You could almost put it upside down. You wouldn't even know which is up and down.
Right? Right? A great
the mirror
shot.
image there.
Great shot. Boy, it is feeling more and more like spring out there. I mean, even like the rain this morning's got me thinking like, hey, spring showers.
I love it.
I know, almost.
I don't know.
We're almost done with February.
I know. Yeah.
Wednesday, March 1st.
Here we go. We're going to be, March is coming in like a...
Little lamb.
Little lamb.
Little lamb.
Thanks for sharing your morning with us, Linda. You can do so as well. Just use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We came across something really cool here. You know, when it snows crazy, people do weird things. And when it comes to police, you'd think they'd seen it all.
But this is not something you see every day. Take a look at this. Shakopee Police in Minnesota posted this image on Facebook with the caption, "We didn't think we'd have to post something like this, but here we are."
Snow skiing behind
you can
an
see,
SUV?
Yeah, a Jeep pulling a snow skier down the middle of the highway there. I mean, it looks like a busy road.
Yeah, it's a 4-lane road for sure.
Yeah, the post has more than 7,200 shares already this morning. I mean, I applaud their creativity, but probably not the safest thing.
No.
You can see the plow there in the upper right-hand corner.
That's crazy, yeah. Taking it to another level with all the snow there they've got in Minnesota. It's just been crazy. I mean, you think about it, Kelly, you know, kind of like when we were younger. Remember the movie Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
When Michael J. Fox surfs on top of the van?
Yeah.
You know, people do some crazy, and they don't do, yeah,
we just think about it nowadays.
Down a little bit more these days. All right, let's get to that forecast. Heavy rain out there this morning, Kelly.
Yeah, we've had some heavy bouts of rain moving through. It's actually freezing once you get north of the Dells, where it's running into temperatures below 32. The heaviest rain should start to lift to the north. Right now, we're at 37. Going through the late morning and the afternoon, just some scattered showers, so maybe a little bit of snow up to the north before tapering off later today.
Keep it here. We're back right after this.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
At Pick and Save, we Save, fresh for everyone.
It's easier to manage my chemo side effects since the Grace Supportive Care came to see me. They're taking the time to listen and talk about options for feeling better.
A Grace, caring every step of the way.
The local water experts at Culligan can take care of everything but the kitchen sink. Actually, we do that too. Culligan, here for every water worry.
There are so many things we take for granted, and along with them, sometimes we take the people who depend on them for granted too. How can they survive with record increases in their basic cost of living? And through no fault of their own, they're being left behind. If you or someone you know needs a hand up, our energy and water providers are working together to keep you safely in your home. You may not ask for it, but we're here to help.
To everyone who believes in tradition, come enjoy a few of ours from Wisconsin.
People in Wisconsin love a good fish fry.
Really love. And we love sharing it with guests everywhere.
At Culver's, we still batter our North Atlantic cod by hand to order.
And we cook it to a crispy, golden perfection just for you.
For you.
For you. So it's crispy outside, flaky inside. Let us take care of you.
With some homegrown traditions we were raised on.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
Oh, the weather. What's the chance of rain tomorrow?
Ooh, 80%.
I make it rain. I make it rain.
Speaking of making it rain, at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, we have an average 95% payout, which leads you to more chances of playing longer and more chances to win big. Play longer, win more, chances are you're gonna like it.
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Sometimes you're so busy taking care of everyone else, you don't do enough for yourself or your mouth. But eventually it will remind you. When it does, Aspen Dental is here for you. We offer the custom dental treatments you need all under one roof right nearby. So we can bring more life to your smile and more smile to your life, affordably. New patients without insurance can get a complete exam and x-rays for $29 and 20% off treatment plans. Aspen Dental, anything to make you smile. Schedule your appointment today.
When your door is always open, so is the fridge. At Pick and Save, however you shop, in-store, pickup, or delivery, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards. That's a win-win-win. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
This morning, a new warning from the CDC about a drug-resistant bacteria. What you need to know to keep your family safe.
Plus, tensions rising in Russia and China as they say they're not standing alone, not condemning the war in Ukraine.
And rain continues to come down, occasionally heavy, maybe even a rumble of thunder, some freezing rain up to the north.
Well, good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to News 3 Now this morning. I'm Chris Stanford.
And I'm Josh Brighter. We start with Kelly Slifka, that alert day forecast. I had a viewer, Deb. She reached out to me on Facebook this morning, said that she had some icy roads in Richland County and also in Sauk County. So it kind of depends on where you are this morning and what you're seeing.
Yeah, it looks like it's starting to move out of Richland County, kind of lifting up to the north. But we still got the moderate rain here in Madison. Looking at the yellows now up to the north, up into Columbia County, indicating moderate to heavy rain. And then when you see these purples, you can see there in Richland County did have a little bit of freezing rain, but now it looks like that's lifting to the north. Might be some residual ice, even though temperatures have climbed above freezing. You actually have a few lightning bolts showing up. You can see some of these flashes of white coming through Madison and Janesville. So don't be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder. Don't think you're crazy. We are looking at wintry precipitation to the north with some of that freezing rain and a little bit of sleet and snow, mainly north of the Dells. That's just this morning. And this morning we have some heavy rainfall, possibly an inch to an inch and a half total, and some of the rivers might be a little bit flood prone going into the afternoon, and that'll continue right through tonight and tomorrow. Right now, the winter weather advisories to the north, basically north of the Dells, north of Columbia County. Temperatures are at 34 in the Dells, but you go up to Camp Douglas, it's sitting right at 32. Right now in Madison, no problem with any freezing precipitation. As we get in the late morning hours, toward the noon hour, most of the heavy rain will be lifting up to the north. Can't rule out some scattered showers into the afternoon. That'll be the tail end of it, and maybe even a little bit of snow as you head north of Columbia County. Headed out to the bus stop, those puddles are going to be full with the snow melt and the rain on top of it, so make sure the kids have those rubber boots out there this morning. Temperatures in the 30s. And maybe a few showers headed home, but a lot of the steadier rains are done. Looks like a lot quieter for the rest of the week. We'll have the first warn forecast coming up.
Kelly, thank you. You can stay on top of the radar by downloading the First Warn Weather app this morning. Just search WISC Weather in your app store.
The G20 meeting held over the weekend ended with all but two countries condemning Russia's unprovoked offensive on Ukraine. The holdouts, China and Russia. And as John Lawrence reports, U.S. officials have concerns about a potential link between those two superpowers.
The Kremlin is accusing the West of trying to destroy Russia.
They have one goal: to break up the former Soviet Union in its main part, the Russian Federation.
During an interview with Russian state TV, Russian President Vladimir Putin said the goal of leading NATO countries is to, quote, inflict a strategic defeat on us so that our people suffer.
How can we, under these conditions, not take into account their nuclear potentials? They supply Ukraine with weapons worth tens of billions of dollars, because this is participation in the usual sense.
Speaking of participation, U.S. officials say they are confident China is considering sending lethal aid to Russia in its war against Ukraine.
Beijing will have to make its own decisions about how it proceeds, whether it provides military assistance. But if it goes down that road, it will come at real cost to China.
As the Russian invasion of Ukraine enters its second year, President Joe Biden's administration's stance on the issue is clear.
We're not going to stand by and allow one country to roll over another country and try to wipe it off the mat. And we're going to build and have built a coalition of more than 50 nations to resist that and help the Ukrainians defend their own territory.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The possible cooperation between China and Russia isn't the only concern among U.S. officials. CIA Director William Burns says the alliance between Russia and Iran is moving at a pace that is, quote, disturbing. During an appearance on CBS's Face the Nation, Burns said Iran's leaders have not decided whether to resume their weaponization program. And it is unclear if there's any coordination between Russia and Iran's nuclear program.
A small-town community is coming together to honor its local heroes 2 months after 11 families lost everything in a downtown fire in Spring Grove, Minnesota. The community is rallying once again. The fire came on a cold night just before Christmas, and firefighters fought it for hours. Fire Chief Trent Turner says many community members stepped up to help that night. He says this weekend was about thanking the community who rallied and came together as one in a time of tragedy.
Stepping out of their homes into essentially blizzard conditions and bringing us food, you know, anything to help warm us up and keep us going and to help fight the good fight, essentially.
The 7 area fire departments who helped were honored, and so were the area electrical workers and volunteers. The families who lost their homes have also been relocated thanks to help from the city.
A new report from the Department of Energy suggests with low-level confidence the COVID-19 pandemic came from a lab leak in China. U.S. government officials have been divided on this, whether the pandemic was caused by a lab leak or emerged naturally from the wild. A senior U.S. intelligence official told the Wall Street Journal recently that new information caused the department to make this updated assessment. The intelligence community has repeatedly noted that a lack of cooperation from Beijing has made it tough to get to the bottom of the question of where COVID-19 originated. On the Health Watch this morning, a rare brain condition has been linked to a Pfizer vaccine for respiratory syncytia. It's a virus that, according to U.S. drug officials, reports 2 people who've had the RSV vaccine were later diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome. RSV is a highly contagious virus that causes flu-like symptoms in people of all ages that increases in severity with age. The syndrome leads to muscle weakness and sometimes paralysis, as it causes the immune system to attack its own nerves. It attacks up to 3 of 100,000 adults age 60 and older each year.
This morning, there is another health threat. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is warning people about rising concerns over a drug-resistant bacteria. CDC officials say the bacteria called Shigella and infections from it can cause a fever, abdominal cramping, and other serious stomach problems. This bacteria affects young children. Officials from the CDC say they have started to see more of the antimicrobial resistant infections in adult populations. Those populations include men who have had sex with men, people experiencing homelessness, international travelers, and people living with HIV. According to the CDC, there are limited antimicrobial treatments available for these particular drug-resistant strains.
6:36 now. It has been 5 years since the mass shooting at Parkland, Florida high school sparked some of the largest gun violence prevention protests across the country. As our Nicole Herzog explains this morning, members of Gen Z are still at the forefront of that movement.
When is it going to be enough? A question members of Gen Z have been asking for nearly their whole lives.
With Sandy Hook, we were in elementary school. I was almost the exact same age as those children. When Parkland happened, we were, within a year or two.
5 years ago, we saw these chilling images. A Valentine's Day marked by tragedy, when a gunman opened fire on students and staff at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, killing 17 people and injuring 17 others. Just a day before the 5-year anniversary of the Parkland shooting, another mass shooting at Michigan State University. For some UW-Madison students, it hit close to home.
We just feel heartbroken for this peer campus where we see ourselves in that student body. We see ourselves in the people that are injured and were sadly killed.
It prompted them to write an op-ed for the Daily Cardinal student newspaper.
And we are not going to stay quiet about these issues because it affects every single person on this campus, every single person at a Big Ten campus, and literally any student in a school in this country.
They're not the only students at the forefront of the gun violence prevention movement. The shooting in Parkland prompted some of the largest gun violence prevention protests in the country, many of them led by teenagers and young adults. In Wisconsin, the March for Our Lives protest was almost entirely organized by people under 25, followed by walkouts at high schools across the state.
We kind of realize that it will be our generation that's likely going to be finally passing legislation that's going to make a difference and finally start to change this. Because I think our generation has really been the one to bear the burden, bear the cost, bear the lost lives.
Around the state this morning, found in a barn right here in Wisconsin, Mecum Auction says a Milwaukee-made motorcycle was the most valuable bike ever sold at auction. Take a look at this 1908 Harley-Davidson side strap. It sold for a whopping $935,000.
Whoa.
Yeah. The bike was found around 70 miles from Milwaukee in 1941. That was maintained for the last 66 years. Mecum Auctions, the largest antique and vintage auction company in the U.S., says the strap tank motorcycle is the most coveted of all Milwaukee machinery.
How about that?
That is so cool.
So well preserved. I mean, you got to think what it's at 114 years old.
Insane.
All right. Hey, taking a look outside this morning. We got a real soaker, folks, that's pushing through the viewing area. Just how much longer this heavy rain will last?
And it's not just us dealing with the impact of Mother Nature this morning. We'll show you how many Americans are waking up to more weather alerts and advisories as we kick off this new week. It's 6:39. We'll be right back.
The acid reflux felt like just the worst burning in your throat that you can imagine. It's almost like a fire in your throat. The LINX procedure was one of the best decisions I've made. It has changed my life, and the burning is gone.
Save big money and get 11% off all your plumbing necessities now at Menards. Remove or transfer water quickly with Barracuda sump and utility pumps. These powerful, energy-efficient pumps are built to last with a rugged cast iron or thermoplastic construction. Be prepared for spring flooding and keep your basement dry. Start your plumbing project today and get a Barracuda cast iron sump pump for just $99.99 right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Fresh out of Papa Murphy's kitchen, the limited time double bacon cheddar pizza.
Actually, it's fresh out of my oven.
Dad, it's just an expression.
Nacho cheddar cheese sauce, crispy bacon, Canadian bacon? Now that is an expression.
Change the way you pizza.
Superior, Wisconsin. It's a must-stop for people who enjoy the sweeter side of life.
Lean back and save big this winter at the Century House. Right now, save hundreds going from one grade of stressless leather to a superior grade for free. Or save $300 and get a free battery when you purchase any stressless mic or stressless max motorized recliner or any stressless classic power recliner. Don't miss out. Shop the Century House, 3420 University Avenue in Madison.
The LINX device stops reflux by using magnets to strengthen the muscle at the end of the esophagus, and this prevents acid from flowing from the stomach back into the esophagus.
Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
When the snow flies in bike-friendly Madison, avid cyclists just keep on pedaling.
It's a good time.
News 3 Now's Tahalil Muhaddin finds out what it takes from must-have gear to safety tips. Hitting the road with snow bikers, tonight at 10. A major winter storm, and we warned you first.
We're tracking a mix of sleet, freezing rain, and snow
for accurate, up-to-the-minute coverage before, during, and after.
Those side streets are a real mess.
Trust News 3 Now, first warned weather, keeping you ahead of the storms. You're watching News 3 Now this morning.
Welcome back, 6:43 on your Monday morning. Right now, wild weather continues to impact millions across the country. California is getting a temporary break, but the West Coast from Sacramento, there we are, to Seattle is under winter weather alerts this morning. Joy Benedict has that story.
Roads shut down due to rock slides. Apartments rent tag deemed unsafe to live in due to toppled trees. And major freeways closed because of heavy snow and dangerous ice. California gets a temporary break to assess the damage before another storm slams the state. The rains have been relentless and prompted several swiftwater rescues, including this one in Pasadena. About 30 miles north in Santa Clarita, RV owners are keeping a close eye on their homes after a cliff collapsed, sending 3 into the river below.
It's devastating.
Heavy snow in some areas up to 6 feet stranded many, including on California's Grapevine, the major artery connecting the southern and northern part of the Golden State. Smaller highways were also impassable.
He got up here and he was out there and he's like, oh God, we're gonna die.
The freezing storm storm left many shivering and surprised to see snow in such normally sunny spots of San Diego and Los Angeles.
This was your first time seeing snow?
Yes.
Like ever?
Ever. 48 years, like ever.
But the storms do have an upside. They have helped move California out of the most extreme drought category. Joy Benedict, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In Oklahoma, people are still reeling from hurricane-force winds made by an extreme storm that we talked about before called a derecho, while other states are cleaning up from a large string of tornadoes and the snow from the last week.
All right, let's get to Kelly Slifka now on your first warn forecast. It is rain here in Dane County we're dealing with this morning.
Yeah, rain in Dane County up to the north where some of this rain is running into some colder air. We're getting a little bit of a wintry mix. Therefore, we do have a first warn alert day this morning for areas north of the Dells, some freezing rain and some snow that should be lifting to the north and ending. Otherwise, we're talking about some flooding potential here across southern Wisconsin. We can see some flooding possible here in southern areas of the state, especially some of these rivers that are prone to flooding. And currently, things are okay, but as we go forward, it looks like near Broadhead, the Sugar River, that does have the potential of peaking early Wednesday morning. Minor flooding expected with that. The other ones shaded in yellow, those are indicated to be close to flood stage as we go over the next couple of days. And that's because of some of the rain we're seeing right now. And also the snowmelt that is ongoing because we've got a lot of rain coming down in the Madison area, even a couple of rumbles of thunder. You can see now up to the north and east in Dodge County. Over into Columbia County. Then it does change over to a little bit of mix. There might be some sleet, freezing rain as temperatures are hovering very close to freezing. Areas north of the Dells seeing that this morning. And that's where we're seeing some of that up on I-90-94. So traveling, be cautious to the north and west, at least for the next several hours. Now here in Madison, it's just rain. A lot of the heavier rain you can see is lifted to the north now, even into northern Columbia County, starting to break up areas to the south this morning. Right now we're sitting at 37 in Madison, so just rain here. 34 in the Dells. You go north of there toward Camp Douglas. Temperatures are very close to 32, so maybe seeing some of that freezing on contact. Across Dane County, everybody above freezing. 36 in Sun Prairie, Cottage Grove. 37 in Oregon and 37 also in Verona and Middleton. So the rain lifting up to the north, becoming more scattered as we go in the early afternoon hours, may tail off into a little bit of snow before ending areas to the north. Then we'll see northwest wind kick in and bring us some cooler weather, it looks like, later this afternoon through the evening hours. Rainfall, though, widespread, 1.5 inches across southern Wisconsin, so that does have the potential of causing some flooding, of course. We have all the snowbanks, and some of those are still clogging some of the storm drains, so that may prevent some of that runoff. So a lot of puddles out there. Be cautious on some of those roads that may cause some hydroplaning. The first warn alert day today, primarily this morning with that heavier rain. Tomorrow night, we'll have a quick-moving storm system that may bring a little bit of snow, maybe mixed with a little bit of rain. Temperatures mild. We do cool off, but generally quiet to end the work week going into the upcoming weekend.
All right, Kelly. Thank you. Watch this. Sometimes love can be found in the strangest places. But for one Wisconsin couple, it happened at the Racine McDonald's 27 years ago. When the fast food eatery heard about the couple's story, they helped celebrate with a spread of roses and a special meal. Mark Francis Sheena tells us how their golden arch love story started.
And I stopped and looked back at her, and as she got to her car, she stopped and turned to look back at me. And I was like, well, that's a done deal. I got to go after her now. I got to chase her down.
Done deal in that moment. The couple exchanged phone numbers at a nearby car wash. The rest is history. The couple meets every year at the same McDonald's. You could call it a tradition of love with a side of fries.
But you never know when love's going to strike.
All it takes is that one moment.
Oh, when that someone, you know, when the universe speaks to you, you gotta listen, right?
I love love.
It's pretty lovely. 6:48 coming up in the morning sprint. The reason one of the country's most famous national parks is shutting down.
But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. We're back after this with more News 3 Now this morning.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
Us. This isn't us. Is it? When did we get so connected to our devices and so disconnected from each other? And when our phones have turned us into this? LT, what do you do when you're a company that sells them?
We gotta fix this.
It's time to find what we're missing. Join us in taking a break from our devices. Take the phones down for 5 challenge for 5 days, 5 hours, or even just 5 minutes. Feels good. And let's find us again. U.S. Cellular, built for us.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes in as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm, please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $19.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Visit plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
Extremist Dan Kelly wants abortion banned, even in cases of rape, incest, and the health of the mother. For years, Kelly was on the payroll of a radical anti-abortion group working to take away women's rights. On the court, Kelly will uphold Wisconsin's 1849 criminal abortion ban that strips women of their freedom to make personal decisions on abortion. Dan Kelly, an extremist who doesn't care about us.
Coming to Overture Center May 11th through 28th. Tickets on sale now at overture.org.
6:51, time for the morning sprint.
After a weekend with big questions left unanswered, we expect to learn more today about that deadly incident at a Quick Trip on Madison's east side. State authorities say officers had a run-in with a suspect at the store who later died. What we're waiting to learn is if Friday's confrontation had any connection to the murder of Kristen Schmidt. We're told the police chief will hold a news conference at some point today on this. We'll push out updates through the News 3 Now mobile app.
Happening tonight, you can hear from both candidates for Madison mayor. The debate at the Madison Public Library will showcase current mayor Satya Rhodes Conway and her challenger Gloria Reyes. The topics for the debate include city finances, affordable housing, bus rapid transit, public safety, and economic development. It is free, but you must register on the Wisconsin Policy Forum's website. The winter storm last week brought nearly a foot of snow, also creating some ice balls on Lake Michigan. The giant spheres are somewhat rare and can grow as big as 3 feet. Temperatures fall just below freezing on shallow beaches, and the slush, it all collects to sculpt the ice chunks into orbs.
They look like rocks,
don't they?
The FDA has announced a plan to get tougher on tobacco. Smoking is still the leading cause of preventable death in the U.S. An independent foundation has accused the FDA of not being proactive enough. In response, officials say they will be making a new website this spring to be more transparent about actions being taken against tobacco companies violating the rules.
It's been 30 years since the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. A ceremony was held to mark the tragedy that took the lives of 6 people. New York Senator Chuck Schumer spoke at the event like he did 30 years ago after the attack. He says the unique New York spirit lives on, like the memory of the victims.
Officials in California are closing Yosemite National Park for a few days due to severe weather. Officials announced the park will be closed through Wednesday. The National Park Weather Service, has issued a blizzard warning for the valley through this week. Officials say travel on park's roads is restricted to administrative staff only. That includes all campground and hiking areas inside the park.
Also in California, at least 3 motorhomes swept into the Santa Clara River. It happened northwest of Los Angeles at an RV park. The surge of water washed out the embankment, sending the RVs in. The park lost power. No injuries have been reported.
First Lady Jill Biden is winding down her trip to Kenya. She spent the last day of her trip visiting a drought response site. The visit comes as the Horn of Africa has experienced the worst drought in 7 generations, leaving 4 million people with insufficient access to food. President Biden says the U.S. is providing about 70% of the money going into the region to help.
At least 58 migrants are dead after their wooden boat broke apart from hitting rocks off of Italy's eastern coast. Around 80 people clinging to wooden shards in the water had to be rescued. It is unclear where the ship had launched from, but the survivors are reportedly from Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran.
Republican House Foreign Affairs Chairman Michael McCaul is calling on the Biden administration to give Ukraine more weapons systems. McCaul says lawmakers are planning on putting in measures into spending bills prioritizing weapons for Ukraine. President Biden and senior administration officials have said for now Ukraine doesn't require the advanced fighter jets.
So here's an interesting story. There is a restaurant that encourages you to eat alongside reptiles and snakes and certain mammals. It's in Malaysia. The cafe owner says he hopes it's going to encourage a more favorable attitude towards reptiles and other animals deemed unappealing. Their main dish is strawberry cake.
Is that because of a snake?
Yeah, that's my hiss.
Skelly?
Is that like snake in a cake? I mean, it's like a movie in the making or something. Hey, we've got rain that's still pretty steady here in Madison. It is causing some problems, some icing up here near the Dells, up toward Camp Douglas. Seeing some of these temperatures in northern Richland County, sitting right at 32 as well. A lot of this will be lifting to the north. We're at 37, even though the Dells says 34. We are seeing some temperatures at 32 up there, so be cautious to the north. The heaviest rains will lift to our north, and by this afternoon, it should become scattered. And we'll start to turn a little bit cooler later today as you plan your day, looking at some showers into the afternoon, and then we'll see some quieter weather, it looks like, for much of the rest of the week.
All right, Kelly, thank you. Grab the umbrella. We're back with an update at 7:26.